What's going on, everyone? Second night on the KX project here. Last night I got a good headway with getting the clutch unfrozen, cables routed, some levers put on, got the chain and sprocket or chain put on, rear wheel spacers, got the rear brake all set up, all working good. Tonight my main focus is going to be getting the engine ready to start, or at least trying to start it. So I got to clean the carb on it. I have to put an air filter on it. The boot for the carb, I actually got the one in the mail today. This is the one that's on there, and this one is the one that came. I don't know if you can really see that in the camera, but it's like half the size. It's definitely the wrong one. Part number on the bag and everything match, but it's not the right one, so I gotta send it back. I actually found another place that can send me one, so I'm not gonna have to wait any extra time. And good news about that is it doesn't come with the clamps, because I already have the clamps here, and it's like $8 compared to that one that was like 20, so saving a little bit of money there, which is great. Yeah, this one's got some cracks in it. See if I can get in there, and if I push the carb sideways, you can kind of see a few little cracks starting to form. That's a no-go for me. If one of those is all the way through, it's going to suck air, cause a lean situation, and pretty much have a meltdown. We're going to burn that piston out of it. Don't want that happening. So when I take the carb off to clean it, I'm actually going to put a gauge right here. I built, my old job, I was actually able to machine a little part. I can put a gauge on it. It's got a Schrader valve on it, so I can put a little bit of air pressure in it, plug the exhaust, and I can spray some soapy water on here around the reed cage here to the reed block, make sure it's not sucking air there. I can also check a couple of the base gasket, all the crank seals, things like that. I can check those out. You don't really want to put that much pressure through it, but I mean, if you put 7.5 to 10 psi, it's not going to really hurt anything, and it's enough that you can get soapy water to bubble out of there. So that's kind of the focus tonight. What else? So I got to take the tank. Oh, the radiator hoses. These are aftermarket ones. You can see they've been on there for a little bit. I think they're alright. They're not through yet, but they're rubbing up in here. It's rubbing up against the spark plug. This side over here, there's a hard kink right there. That's going to restrict a little bit of flow. If I cut a little bit off up here, I can slide it up and I can get that kink out of there. Same with over here. I want to see if I can't get that kink out. Reroute this a little bit, kind of move it around just to make it work a little bit better. Make sure we're getting coolant flow through everything. So I got the front axle here again to file these off a little bit, see if I can get the nut to thread on there a little bit easier. And I got to figure out the front brake, the squishiness of that. I can bleed those out, try that. I'll bleed the rear brakes. I kind of want to change the fluid out because I have no idea how old that stuff is. I have some up in the cabinet there that I can just run some Super Dot 4 through it and call it good. Hopefully this front master cylinder will hold. And I guess I got to get to work now. Mint. That's nice there. I mean, I guess I could go a little shorter up here, but it's definitely not pinched anymore. I kind of want to, but I like it because it's away from here and it's a nice right angle, so we could get, it'll definitely flow through here now. I like it. Let's work on the other one. Look how long it is up here for it to be happy. I mean, I want this angle to be happy and I want this angle to be happy. So if I just kind of twist it and lay it in there, this all looks good. I mean, I gotta cut a good, what, ½ inch off of there. Take a look at this. You can see where that hose clamp was bottomed out right here, and it was only covering a little bit of that hose. I'm just gonna trim that flush so it sits down flat and put the hose clamp where it's supposed to be. You always gotta check these kind of things, or else you end up running out of coolant and melting it. Look at this. It even came, when I adjusted this, when I trimmed it, it came away from the spark plug. It was leaning up against the spark plug before, so just me trimming that and kind of resetting it got it away from that spark plug. I'll take it. Got the carb off of it, cleaned that all out, pulled the float bowl off, looked at the jets in it, the main, the pilot, looked where the needle position was, took note of the needle itself. I got to look up to see if they're actually correct. He is running an FMF fatty, so I just want to make sure that's pretty close to where it needs to be, and then we can kind of tune it from there. I went to hook up my pressure gauge here and the little coupler that I made for it. Schrader valves right here, and look, cracks are a little bit worse than I thought. I'm just gonna assume that they're leaking, and the fact that we need to get this anyway, so I'm just not even gonna do a leak test. I'm gonna go ahead and replace that, and that was pretty much the one I was worried about there. If this is leaking too, I won't get a good accurate measurement or reading with the soap and the water to see if the reed block here is leaking, which I don't think it is. I see a little bit of dirt around it, but I don't think it's leaking that bad, or at all rather. So I can do a leak down test or a leak test later once I get this boot, but I'm just gonna end up stopping now and saying that I'm not even gonna put the carb on it to start it with this boot looking like that. So I'll put the pipe on it, I'll get everything ready to go there, and then I'll just move up to the front. Since I can't do that leak test, there's a couple tests I can still do. I can test the compression. I got my compression gauge set up here, and I can test to see if it's got spark. All you gotta do is just pull the spark plug off and ground it somewhere. Okay, get a couple times. If you see spark, you know you got spark. And then compression is supposed to be, I think the book was like 130 to 200. So conditions for that is throttle wide open, and you kick it, what, 3 to 5 times? Well, I don't have the carburetor on it right now, so I guess that would be wide open, right? I'm gonna lower it and give it a couple kicks, see what happens. Get this spark plug in a spot where I can see it. Well, just that was 150, so I'll take that. That's good. Got good compression. I didn't see much spark, but that could just be me. I'm gonna pull the gauge off of it, kick it without that, just see if I can get some spark out of it, and we'll see. Hopefully I can get that intake boot in soon, so we can get the carb on that to make sure the carb is actually going to work. I know I got spark, I know I got compression, I got the recipe for success here. Carb, yeah, there's a couple things I'm not too fond of. It has a throttle position sensor right here, and there's a fuel shutoff right here. I mean, come on, it's a 2-stroke. There's supposed to be 7 pieces, not supposed to be anything, you know, any carburetor that's electrically modified in some way. So, we'll see about that. I'm just super happy you got spark and compression, so I know we're actually heading in the right direction there. For what's in the frame right now, minus the carb, we know we're good. And so I think from there, I'm actually just gonna tighten up the shifter lever, see if I can't clean that up a little bit, get it to not move, not flop around the way that it is now. They're aluminum ones, I'm really not a big fan of them, but, and then I think I'll move on to the front end, get that all tightened up, and I'll leave the pipe off of it for now. Maybe I'll put it on tonight, I'm not quite sure. I still kind of want to get that leak down, or that leak check done for that reed block, because I'm still kind of uneasy about that. Other than that, I think that might be a wrap for tonight. Right, so looking at the board, I dressed the front brakes, got that all done. They're still a little squishy, but they're kind of Nissans, and it's a long cable. It's an 01. I know my YZ had really squishy brakes. They still are, I'm not gonna lie. They could be better, they're not Brembos, but I kind of like that squishy feel in the front, because then you know you're not gonna lock them up. So I don't think I'm going to be grabbing a rebuild kit for it, just because I can feel it building pressure from the get-go. If the pistons and the seals were bad in it, you would kind of have trouble building pressure in it. So I just think it's an old cable, or an old brake line in that sense. So I'm going to go ahead and cross that off. Shifter lever, I couldn't get to that stupid little 8mm bolt with it on the stand, so I'm gonna have to set it down, maybe tip it on its side. I just got to get it off the stand to get to that, so we're not gonna do that. I cleaned the carb and I checked the jetting. The jetting is on point for the FMF fatty that is running, so I'm pretty happy about that. Don't need to do any changes there. I cleaned it. I did find the pilot jet was a little clogged. A little bit of shop salve sprayed right through it. We're good to go there. The fuel inside of it was a little varnished, had a bad smell to it. It was just old. Happy I was able to get inside there, clean it out. The clip for the throttle cable broke when I was taking the old throttle cable off, so I'm not able to put that back on there. I got to order one of those. So kind of unhappy about that, but I also have to order that boot. So it's, you know, you win some, you lose some. I know the boot's bad. I really don't want to start it. I want to be able to just kick this thing over, start it, and be like, hey, we're done. So I know I got spark. I know I got compression. Carburetor's next. Don't really want to deal with that air leak, or any possible air leak. So I know that's good. Carb's clean. Jetting's good. Went through the radiator hoses. That was the first thing I did. Trimmed some of those, cleaned them up. Got them in spots where I liked them. I'm happy with how that came out. So we can go ahead and erase that. All my needle positions and jets, we're good on that. Front axle nut, was able to clear those threads out. That went together nice. Found a couple burrs in where it goes through the forks, so that I'm pretty happy about finding those. Clean those out, good there. Air filter, once again not having the carb on there, so I'm not even going to bother with oiling the air filter yet. Throttle cable and adjuster went over that. Pipe mount, haven't mounted the pipes yet because I kind of want to do that leak test if I can once I get that boot in, just to eliminate any possible air leaks causing a lean condition. Blown up motor, not a good deal. So I think for now I might be good for the weekend, because I got to order parts, and I might be able to get to Project Woods Ripper tomorrow. That would be great. Get this off the stand, get those parts ordered, get this off the stand. Little upset that I wasn't able to finish it this weekend for him, but he understands. He was just like, get to it when you can. So I think that's it. I'm gonna finish my beer and go to bed.